When I mean super aggressive lead gen, you throw that CT of sign up now across. Like you talk, my name is Shri, sign up now for high performer. That's how it used to be.
What does it mean by aggressive lead generation tactics? You mentioned two things.
Yep.
What is that? Give an example.
Hey, if I say something, does this person resonate? And if they resonate, they don't have to comment and give you, I know what you're saying. They will just leave a footmark by putting the like button.
So Ramesh, what you're saying is also kind of a business model which is done by companies like Figma.
Yeah.
Companies like Notion. Canva, to some extent, of course, where there's an audience who are basically managing their distribution person.
Correct.
What you're saying is that building a sustained distribution channel through social presence is probably one of the best ways of establishing product.
It is one of the best ways, Shri.
Hi Ramesh, hi everybody. Welcome to our podcast. Great. Ramesh, how is it going for you?
It's been great. We're always thinking about what's going to take us to the next level, and that keeps me awake.
Let me ask you this question, Ramesh.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this for some time now, right? There's no better place than asking the podcast, right?
Okay, he's putting me on the spot.
I think this is your first time as an entrepreneur.
That is true.
Being part of Google, being part of an IPO company, right?
Yeah.
Freshworks, amazing rides last 15 years, right? You came in from a hardcore sales guy, right? Then become a digital marketer, right? Now you're an entrepreneur. What is it one thing, which is keeping you awake overnight?
So it was different that every time. When I was a sales guy, I wasn't worried about selling, but I was worried about collecting the money for what I sold. Right? It's a sale is not complete until you collect.
That's very unconventional today.
Right. I mean, we always think that once you call and you sell the product, sale is done. But until you collect the money, the sale is not done. Right. So that's a very strong, right from my earlier days of my career. So that was collection.
I'll tell you, that's an interesting topic for a part, where how today's, I know a lot of sales folks hearing this might feel otherwise. How many of them are really worried about collecting money? But anyway, we'll get there for sure on one of the podcasts. But I'm going to let you close your thoughts. Right?
Yeah. So collection was always there because we weren't rewarded our incentive until we collected the money for what we sold.
Okay.
So collection was when I was a sales guy. When I became a digital marketer, right, and then from a sales profile, you're shifting into a marketing side, although you're part of the go-to market in general, you're always about, generating leads. And if those leads were qualified enough by the sales, I mean, this is two-pronged, right? You're always thinking about, hey, can I give because you have a revenue number to hit, and the revenue number is broken down by leads, and you're always about, hey, can I give leads? It is hard.
Correct.
And every time we enter the meeting, within the marketing, it's about how many leads have we given the sales.
Got it.
The next bit of it is even harder because you're sitting with the sales guys and they're like, hey, lead is of poor quality. Combined of this, let's say you've achieved a lead target, but the sales guys still are complaining about the quality of leads. It's about poor ROI.
Okay.
Right? It's about, and then you hear it from the CEO, you hear it from the board. Hey, you guys are spending way too much money for something that you're not even generating in terms of leads. So that, and now as an entrepreneur, it is, of course, it's about how do we sell? What's our GTM motion going to be? How do you generate leads? Sale will eventually come, fingers crossed. So that's what keeps me awake at night.
Okay. And you're saying that either collection or budget?
It's always about money.
It's always about money. But I think it just gets into a very interesting topic, right? Which also is a topic of interest for us today, right? We spoke about product market fit, right?
Yeah.
And we always connected, hey, do distribution along with your product, and only then you'll get product market fit.
Correct.
Now, achieving product market fit in a landscape where budgets are always tight, right? And then expectations are always high, right? So, how do you handle that? I think what's happening right now when you go into a lot of those meetings, of course, in the past and also in the last 6, 8, 12 months, where I'm sure this is the conversation from all CMOs and the growth marketers, where budgets are frozen, but the expectation from the sales teams are not, right?
Of course.
Now, what's happening right now?
I think marketing has gone a little below the funnel. Obviously, I'm a marketer, so the funnel has to be spoken about again and again.
Okay.
So, Shri, what's happening is you're not a full stack marketer. You're not a full stack CMO if you're not generating enough opportunities for the salesperson. What I mean by that is it's gone a little below the funnel, which means it's not always about, hey, is your product branded well?
Okay.
Right? Branding is just one aspect. It's an activation point. The CMOs are more concerned about how do you build pipeline at a reasonable cost.
Okay. So, which basically, I will just pause here, right? Just to reframe the question clearly here,
Yeah.
right? So, you have seen like firsthand the struggles of teams face when I say when they're scaling the pipeline.
Yeah.
Right. Especially, what you're alluding to is when the traditional methods are not working out anywhere.
Correct.
They basically fall short. What do you think is really fundamentally broken in a traditional approach of building pipeline? Can you just talk about that? See, what is the traditional way of building pipeline, and what is broken, and why do you think so? 3 parts.
First is 10 years back versus now.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because you spoke about traditional pipeline building. Traditional pipeline building was always over-relying itself on paid marketing.
Okay.
Right? And super aggressive lead gen. When I mean super aggressive lead gen, you throw that CTO of sign up now across. Like you talk, my name is Shri, sign up now for high performer. That's how it used to be. Right? Take any landing page, like a really aggressive lead generation.
Take a step back, Ramesh. For people who are kind of hearing the paid marketing as for the first time, what is paid marketing?
Paid marketing includes right at the bottom of the funnel. When you want to capture the leads, 10 years back, I don't care if you have an intent to buy or not.
Okay.
The moment I think I'm reaching you as my audience, I want you to buy.
Okay.
So you could use search marketing. You could use the display marketing where you have ads across all the websites. This is online. You could do paid marketing when you go for an event where you're putting up a booth and you're just asking for people at an event to buy.
Okay.
Paid marketing could be anything under the sun that you pay to get a lead. These are aggressive lead generation.
So what is predominantly?
So what's broken there?
What is broken there? I mean, that's how traditionally everybody does business. Meaning, you put money on Google, expect
Let's take simple Google right. Google's earnings. If you go and look at their search reports, they're always talking about the inflation in search, and that's what this is bringing them revenue.
Okay.
Right. The cost per click for any keyword between 10 years earlier and now would have been a minimum of 2x or 3x.
Okay.
Which means if I were to bid for high performer 10 years back, if it was a reasonably okay brand, and let's say it was $2, it would have been $20 by now. Okay. Although you got the yield from it, right?
So is it because you tend to, or is it because businesses has to constantly increase their budget with?
It's because
proportionally less returns is what you're saying.
Exactly. Okay. Right. That's happened now, Shri. Okay. So what you did is you went all out. You started spending a lot of money, and it was really working out well for you. That's the traditional sales pipeline building. But right now it's changing because you're spending more money because you have to keep your goals, your revenue goals up there, reasonably up there. But the proportion, the return that you're getting is not proportional to the spend. It is. So there is a diminishing marginal utility for every dollar spent right now.
Okay. And that is probably one of the reasons why there is a lot of stress on a lot of companies, including the public SaaS companies, right? And this is coming from somebody who's probably was running with the highest budget in a public company as well. I was the other day when a customer called where the customer was introducing you to me saying that, hey, if Ramesh was one of the, had the opportunity to run the highest budget.
I would have taken it as a matter of pride. And 5 years back, I would hide myself.
So coming from you, Ramesh, what I'm still not very clear, right? You said 2 things. One is you said the costly paid the marketing.
Correct.
I get it now.
Traditional marketing.
As time goes by, the dollar spent on the cost per click, which you bid, is getting higher.
Yep.
Now, what does it mean by aggressive lead generation tactics? You mentioned 2 things.
Yep.
What is that? Give an example.
It's you only cared about the lead.
Okay.
That is what the marketing's goal was. That's why I said that one was to generate lead. The other was to see if the lead is converting. Right?
Okay.
What proportion? So the marketer went all out in generating leads. The CTA that you would put in any paid marketing was always about sign up for free. Sign up for free.
Okay.
It didn't matter whether you wanted to buy or not. That's the aggressive lead gen strategy that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, you paid money because you only want them to sign. You don't want to engage with them. This is a new term that is happening, right? You want them to sign up, and you do everything under the sun to literally put a gun when you do multiple retargeting strategies. Let's assume they just came to your website.
Okay.
You would instantly see another ad of high performer if it was 5 years ahead in any place you visited. That the footprint would just follow you. It would make that is super aggressive lead gen strategy.
Okay, I see that. So, like you're saying, Ramesh, just to summarize the three parts, right? I think there's one more aspect you mentioned, which was basically, of course, just summarize, it's a costly.
It is costly.
Costly to generate leads online, specifically paid. Second, what you're saying is the percentage of people who are willing to buy now is proportionally less than 5%. Is what I think.
That is right.
That's
so
the second part,
again,
right?
the funnel piece of it, which I didn't talk about much, was the marketing funnel itself is the people at the bottom of the funnel is where there could be a commercial intent to buy a software right now. This aggressive marketing strategy that I was lead generation that I was talking, it was all about going to that 5%. You could afford it back in the day to go. But as time has gone by, imagine the number of software companies that are there, each trying to solve a smaller niche.
Same problem.
Or there's a very different need. How many of them, you cannot, the vendor below cannot buy all of them.
So now, and hence you're saying growing a pipeline with limited budget is a challenge for all the the CMOs and, the growth market.
Correct. It is a big problem. And we have to relook, as CMOs, we have to relook this from a growth perspective. How do you grow it? Then you wear a new lens of saying engagement.
Okay, but I have one more question,
Right?
Ramesh.
Sure.
Before you start saying what's alternate, don't you expect the sales conversion increase?
No, it's not increasing.
It's not
It's
increasing.
impossible to increase.
Because that's another variable. So now you're saying budget is constant. Another side you're saying there are only constant number of people looking for a new product.
Yep.
That's also constant.
So how can you
But
increase the conversion
the
rate?
pipeline is increasing. Also is not increasing. Meaning generally
Fairly,
yeah,
you
same
have
level. But
otherwise, yeah.
now shouldn't then we all work towards increasing the sales conversion?
It's not possible because
Possible. Okay.
let me again give you the simple reason. It is diminishing returns. You have a pipeline goal of $1,000.
Okay.
The next year, that 1,000 becomes 1,400. Let's assume just back 40% year-over-year growth.
Okay.
Now with that, you add more seats of people trying to call you or add more salespeople. As you kind of increase, your lead generation target increases, the number of salespeople increase.
Okay.
And at some point, there is going to be inefficiency that's going to come in. Because you cannot generate the same quantity of leads at the same cost. There will be a marginal cost that comes into play for every additional lead.
Okay.
And with that marginal inefficiency also comes with more number of people, right? There is a sales process. You got to follow that. There is the training time. And everything is the sales area. I'm not going to talk too much about it right now.
Okay.
What is going to happen is from the $1,000 pipeline to $1,400 pipeline, there is inefficiency building and your cost is going up for lead generation, inefficiency in sales that is likely to happen, and the ROI is going to be.
So in nutshell, let me put my understanding, Ramesh. You can just correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying, Ramesh, is this: the traditional approach of building pipeline focuses only on the 5% of the cohort, and as the result of which, there are multiple SaaS companies coming out, literally maybe like hundreds of them in every segment,
Correct.
if not few thousands, right?
Yeah.
Now, what you're saying is, as a result of which, the paid marketing becomes very expensive.
Yeah.
Right? Now, this means that the traditional method of building pipeline is broken. Correct. It's very clear now. So now what is the alternate? How do we approach it? Because this is what everybody is doing today.
Correct.
Right? In fact, if you look at it, the complete tech stack for marketing is only focused on the 5%.
Yeah.
Now, you tell me what's the alternate?
There is a 95% on top, which no one is talking about.
Okay.
Right?
Can you just give more details?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They don't have any commercial intent to buy the software right now, but they are your potential customers.
Okay.
They may not be ready to buy now for various reasons. They could be using an incumbent software. They have no idea that such a software even is there, right? So there could be multiple ideas. So if they don't have a commercial intent to buy, how about engaging with them over a period of time, right? How about they are you know that they are prospects.
Okay.
And build that relationship, not one-on-one relationship, but one-to-many relationships, where you try and keep educating them, informing them, entertain them, right? And one platform that does that really well is social.
Okay.
Right? Where you as a brand, you as a salesperson can come across as putting a smile on their face, and that's entertaining them. You crack a joke upon yourself about the product, there you go. You talk about engaging them. Social gives you the leverage to say, hey, if I say something, does this person resonate? And if they resonate, they don't have to comment and give you, I know what you're saying. They will just leave a footmark by putting the like button. That's very powerful. That is engagement at a different order. Now, engagement doesn't mean they're ready to buy the software, but continuous engagement over a period of time makes them really, you can get really closer to them, try to understand their problem. There will be a time when you go to them and say, wow.
It makes a lot of sense. Right? In fact, there are companies which have been very successful doing this, who elevate social presence, and they end up building a community with their target audience.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're talking about.
That's what we're trying. What we're saying is that, hey, instead of just focusing on the 5%, right, focus on the 95%.
Yes.
Where it's not just spread and pray kind of a thing, but instead of that, you basically identify your target audience, right? Establish your social presence among your target audience. It's a very, very important thing, right? Where we all run away from social presence thinking about the noise, right? But you look at the signal within that particular noise.
Correct.
And understand your target audience, right? And build a social presence around your target audience. So Ramesh, what you're saying is also kind of a business model which is done by companies like Figma.
Yeah.
Companies like Notion.
Canva,
to some extent HubSpot, where there's an audience who are basically managing their distribution person.
Correct.
Right? And typically they do that by building their social presence.
That's right.
Is my understanding correct, Ramesh?
That's right. Absolutely right. I think organic growth is the only sustainable growth.
Okay.
If the CMO is worried in the boardroom about building a pipeline that commensurates to the target of the company, the only way to do it, the 5% go as per whatever the existing pipeline has to agree. And that's not scalable, but start looking at how can you organically engage with your future prospects. And like I said, social is one of the greatest strategies that you can do, because social has the ability to bring together, of course, a prospect, but there are multiple ways of doing it, right? You can have the salesperson interact, you can have the brand interact, you can have the CEO, the C-suite interact. Entire company can probably take through advocacy programs, right? Really talk to them. And this is the engagement at different levels that the prospect can really, be, wow, okay, here is a company. And, it also builds trust, Shri. Like, how many times has it been that when you go and buy a product, you go back to their social and check when was the last time someone has reviewed them. So it's really
always not. Right?
So that also establishes trust.
So what you're saying, Ramesh, is by investing, to building a social presence, specifically social presence here is specifically which is relevant to your target audience.
Yeah.
My understanding is that from what you're saying, it can significantly reduce, the dependency on, the paid campaigns.
Yeah.
One. Second thing, you also build a community,
Of course.
For a startup which is early stage where you're trying to do the product market fit, there is no better way to establish, the product market fit than building this target audience and the community. Absolutely. If you connect the dots, I think in the current world order where this, the budgets are low and you're looking at only organic.
And it's not going to grow anytime soon. Every company has learned their lesson.
100%. Building a community, specifically building a social presence, and having that as a channel for your product market fit, along with other things, is probably the most smartest way of
sustainable way.
Of course, more sustainable way, right?
Correct.
So if you want to summarize, Ramesh, how do you put it together? Like, achieving the product market fit today isn't just about having a great product. We spoke about that in our previous part. Now, what you're saying is that building a sustained distribution channel through social presence is probably one of the best ways of establishing product.
It is one of the best ways, Shri, because you are now able to get to the customer organically, and a relationship is always built organically, right? Talk about any relationship. You can't speed in that. There is no speed dating available here. So build that sustainable pipeline only through organic relationship building with them, and social presence. Having a strong social presence across the company is a real great way to do it. And this is real, right? And that's what we are solving for at High Performer.
Okay.
Right? We are solving for this at High Performer because we've seen this in the past of you cannot build your pipeline by increasing your marketing budgets year over year, right? Profitability is a very key metric that every startup is looking at.
Okay.
Every board is looking at, every CMO is looking at, and therefore you got to build that consistently over a period of time. Engagement is the metric, not necessarily conversion, right? There is an intermediate metric that comes into play with engagement. Is your salesperson engaging with them? If you've also seen it, Shri, sales guys love to have conversations.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it means, hey, I'm not interested, I'm not looking at it right now, is a positive response by email.
Correct.
Rather than no response.
Right.
And it involves multiple tactics as well, right? Gone are the days where you put up a white paper and say, here is a form, fill it. The user is scared to even touch one field because the moment he or she fills the form, the next minute there's going to be a phone call.
Very true.
That is not sustainable.
No, I don't think we are comfortable these days filling up the form.
Yep.
Ramesh. But at the same time, we are more likely to basically engage on social if it is very relevant. So as I'm saying, it is not just throwing some crap on social and expecting engagement also not possible.
Yeah.
I think, just to dwell on that. See, you need to be sharing insights, which is going to give some value to the, to the target audience. You should answer some sensible questions.
Correct.
Right? Showcasing expertise, right? These are very, very, like the important factors of building the social engagement.
Yeah, every sales guy can do it. The marketing guy can do it. It becomes absolute.
But you need to be very authentic there. You cannot be doing really selling on social and that doesn't work. So which means that keep it very, very simple, authentic. Like you said in the other part, keep your marketing innocent.
Absolutely innocent.
When when it comes to trying to build the social presence. I think with that we're going to close the part. This particular part. Ramesh, just want to wrap up. What do you want to say?
It's a lot of hard work in building organic relationships, but this is the only sustainable way to building a successful pipeline. Right? Remember, there are 10 other SaaS companies who are also selling a similar product. But if you have to stand out, there's only a genuine relationship with your prospect that can take you ahead, and social can give you that leverage to do that, right? With that, we bring an end to this episode of Reset to Zero. See you on the other side.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch up on the next part.